What's up, folks? Your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're doing a Raw recap. Just a side note, my Extreme Rules video was taken down briefly, but it's now been fixed, so it's now live, so I'll put it up in the card right here. And with that being said, let's get on with the recap. We started off with a recap of the Seth Rollins Rey Mysterio eye for an eye shit show from last night. Seth Rollins comes out with Murphy. Rollins addresses the Extreme Rules match and how seeing Rey Mysterio holding an eyeball that was bought from Spirit will haunt him forever. He then turns his regret back onto the fans, saying it's their fault. He says the greater good can now move on. Aleister Black comes out. He says he's here to rectify this. Murphy comes running out, but Aleister Black beats the hell out of him. Black gets into the ring, Rollins jumps out, cut to a commercial, we come back, we have our first match, Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins. This was a decent match, Murphy did get involved with it. He ended up eating a Black Mass kick. Rollins works on Black's arm, nails Aleister with a curb stomp and gets the pin. After the match, Rollins and Murphy attack Aleister Black, continuing to beat down on Black's arm. Now keep this in mind, we're going to be seeing a lot of this later. I will say this about the opening. Once again, we're back to the 10-minute diatribe of just spouting BS. I know it's the day after the pay-per-view, so we're going to have a little bit of the Fallout story. But seriously, SmackDown last week did it 10 times better with, I don't even think it was 5 minutes. Just quick. Just promo after promo after promo. Someone pointed out that it was almost like Saturday night's main event. And it's been a while since I've seen that. And yeah, I do remember that. I don't know if they're just going to keep that to SmackDown or if they're going to they should implement it across the board. But anyways, on we go. We got a recap from last night from MVP naming himself the United States Champion. Backstage, you got Ron Simmons chatting with Bobby Lashley and MVP. MVP starts to ask R-Truth to join him and Bobby Lashley into the ring. R-Truth says no. Then a super kick out of nowhere from Shelton Benjamin. A referee shows up. Benjamin pins R-Truth and is now the 24/7 champion. So now the 24/7 champion, Benjamin, will now join MVP and Bobby Lashley out in the ring. MVP talks about Extreme Rules. They're soon interrupted by Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. A bunch of words gets thrown around. MVP makes a challenge of a three on, well, it's supposed to be, he's going to say, well, we'll narrow it down. You pick two of us. But Cedric Alexander and Ricochet say, nope, we got a third person. They're returning Mustafa Ali. And it's funny, they gave him his first name back, which is funny. But anyways, Bobby Lashley comes running out into the ramp. He gets up laid out. And we got our next match. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP versus Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, and Mustafa Ali. This is a good power versus speed match. I really liked it. I usually don't like all these like thrown together matches like that, but this one was actually pretty good. And the usual, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet get worked over. They get the hot tag into Mustafa Ali, the new returning shiny person. He blows everything up. Everyone gets their spots in. Ali hits the 450 on MVP and gets the pin. Like I said, good match. Backstage, Randy Orton talks about his legacy and his match with the Big Show later tonight. Then in a short backstage segment, we got Ron Simmons once again talking to the Viking Raiders. In these two segments, they really don't say, they really don't point out what's being said. They're just talking. What? Okay. We then have a Skype call with Christian. He says he's never going to be the same again after what happened with Randy Orton. He then hypes up the match with the Big Show. Okay. Backstage, Peyton Royce picks a fight, and we have our next match, Peyton Royce versus Ruby Riott. Royce berates Ruby about Liv Morgan not wanting to be her friend. This, however, fires up Ruby Riott. She takes it to Peyton Royce, hitting her with the Riott kick and getting the pin. Decent match. Wasn't much to it. It was, almost like a spur-of-the-moment thing, but it was good. I liked it. We then got the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade. This is a really good, fast-paced match. I liked it. Montez Ford did a really cool frog splash. He actually turned himself around halfway through the air onto Angel Garza and got the pin. Good match. I liked it. We then have a recap of the Raw Women's title match. Then Sasha Banks and Bayley come out. Just like usual, they talk about their Extreme Rules matches. Asuka and Kairi Sane come out. Asuka wants her title back. Sasha Banks says, come on and take it. As Asuka's coming down the ramp, Stephanie McMahon shows up on the Titantron. She comments on the women's match being a horror show. I really wouldn't say that. I mean, it ended bad, but it definitely wasn't the worst one. She says next week there's going to be a match between Asuka and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title, and there will be a definitive winner. It can be won by either pin, count out, disqualification, or if somebody decides to butt in. So that looks like it's going to be a decent match. So on to our next match, Kairi Sane versus Bayley, which I don't understand because she's from SmackDown. But, oh well, you know how Vince McMahon is. We have that whole 4 times a year, someone from one brand can go to the other. I think we've done that like 20 times already. Anyways, this was a match. It used a lot of spots from the Seth Rollins Aleister Black match when Seth Rollins was working on Aleister Black's arm. Yeah, the same thing here. Bayley was working on Kairi Sane's arm. Kairi Sane reverses Bayley, gets her stacked up, gets the pin. Okay. Then we got Drew McIntyre coming out. Guess what he's talking about? He's shortly interrupted by Dolph Ziggler. He still feels like he's owed something. It seems like with Dolph Ziggler, we just keep rehashing the same story, no matter who he's in a feud with. It's always, it should have been me. I'm deserved this. I'm owed this. Can we give this motherfucker something else to fucking say? Drew McIntyre says, bugger off. Ziggler starts running his mouth. Drew McIntyre says, man, fuck it, I'm leaving. He goes to leave. Ziggler tries to stop him, ends up eating a Glasgow kiss. As McIntyre's walking up the ramp, Ziggler says that he wants another goddamn match. He doesn't care what happens. Drew McIntyre can pick the stipulations, the place, whatever. Anything, he wants another match. McIntyre says, okay, I accept. Starts to walk away. Ziggler asks what's the stipulation. McIntyre says, I'm going to do the same fucking thing you did, asshole. I'm going to wait until right before the match. Which is cool. Bites him straight in the ass. Backstage, we got the Big Show cutting a promo about his match, which is next. And as our main event, Randy Orton versus the Big Show in an unsanctioned match. Big Show dominates the opening, then Garza and Andrade come running out, start beating up on Big Show. The Viking Raiders come running out to even the score and chase off Garza and Andrade, leaving Show and Orton back in the ring to finish out everything. Orton tries to go for a punt, but Big Show catches him, hits him with a choke slam, gets a 2 count. Big Show tried to drop on Orton, laying on a table. Orton moved, ends up eating the table. Orton hits the RKO, gets a 2 count. Orton waylays the hell out of Big Show with a steel chair, hits him with the draping DDT, nails the RKO, gets the pin. After the match, Randy Orton lines up, hits Big Show with the punt, telling Big Show, one more legend down. For a Fallout show for Raw on Extreme Rules, once again, it's right after the pay-per-view, so we're going to get a shit ton of recaps. I understand that. You know, I've come to live with that. You know, so, all right. Putting all that aside, the matches were decent. There were some that really weren't all that great, but I did enjoy the matches. So, in a whole, I'll say it was a decent Raw. Nothing spectacular. We'll just have to see what happens on SmackDown, if they can pull it out, or if they're just going to go along the same route as Raw. And that'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back on Friday for the SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of Raw, what you thought about this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.